What is up, everybody? Welcome to this Taco Tuesday. We are live and here. This is maybe, I think, the third time we have interviewed somebody that's not actually in the 48 states, we'll say. So, Brian, what's up, man? Where are you at right now? Which you're muted, by the way. I don't know if you see that. Let me unmute.
Oh, there it is. I'm in Ponce. I think they call it, I was pronounced correctly, Puerto Rico. So I've been down here for a couple days.
Yeah. You say it's called Ponce?
Ponce, Puerto Rico.
Ponce.
It's probably one of the, I'd say it's one of the areas that is probably the most poverty stricken in Puerto Rico, which is why we're down here.
Yeah. We were talking offline a little bit, and I was telling you, but it looked like a pretty fun place, and you had the trash truck drivers driving by waving at you, and they look like they're having a great time. So
these are some friendly people. I mean, it's really unexpected. I mean, everywhere you go, it's just you chat with anybody and they just go on and on for 10-15 minute conversation, and it's not like there's an ulterior motive. Like, you know how you talk to some people and you're expecting them 3 minutes in to ask you for some money or something. No, they're just genuinely saying, and they're asking you, hey, what are you guys going to be doing? Are you looking for a place to go eat or a place? That's just, yeah. So it's a bunch of genuine people down here.
Yeah. Which obviously most of you guys that watch the show and gals every week, we appreciate you tuning in. And obviously you guys know who Brian is. He's on social media almost every day, probably at least twice a day, posting what he's doing, where he's at, or he's got these crazy memes going on. But Brian, something that I found out about you that I didn't know, but so you growing up in the industry, you actually used to do fencing in Alaska?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's where I learned. I mean, I learned how to drive a fence truck. I mean, probably the first vehicle I ever drove was a fence truck at a Moose Research Center out of, I think it was Soldotna, Alaska. So you go to Anchorage, which is where my uncles owned Anchorage Fence. So, and then you had to take one of those little planes, that went across the air. I don't know if you've ever been in any of those bush plane kind of things, but that's kind of how it feels. You go like 10 feet, it feels like you drop 10, go back up and drop. So out at a Moose Research Center where my family would go out there for like a month at a time, and we'd be living in motorhomes. Of course, back then it was different. I mean, kegs of beer and motorhomes and four-wheelers. And I mean, it was a dream for a kid, right? I mean, here you are 14 with four-wheelers and just camping basically with your uncles, right?
Yeah. Which so they owned Anchorage fencing, or your uncle did. What did you say, uncles? Or uncle?
Yeah, two uncles.
Okay, so they own Anchorage fencing. So how did you also build fence in Oregon? Or they just traveled?
They started in Oregon, so I think it was it might have been All Time. I don't even remember, because I was really young then. And then the whole family. So that was the first fence companies. Really was that, but I had to have been like 6 to 8. You know how it is. I was just, my first real job was putting nuts and bolts together. I don't know if anybody's listening, if you ever had to do that, but my uncles, you'd have to take those, 100 nuts and 100 the fence bolts, the 5/16 by 1 1/4, right? Those bolts. And you take a box, and you had that plastic bag that had all the nuts wrapped in oil, right? And you'd have to dump the box, open up the bag, and I got paid. It was a lot of money back then, $1 a box to put the nuts on there, and then that's what they would grab to put in their tool bags and stuff. So that was my first real job in the fence industry. It was $1 a box putting nuts and bolts together.
Do you have a guy at your current business that you do that he does that same thing?
Kind of, but it's not supposed to be. The guys are supposed to do it. I mean, I don't know how you do it, but the plan is the helper is not supposed to be sleeping on the way to the job. He's supposed to be putting nuts and bolts together in the cab of the truck, right? But what seems to always happen is they need 2 or 3 bolts or 2 or 3 nuts, so they open up a new box and grab that, and then those nuts we just have buckets of this. And so the yard guy ends up putting these things together, and I'm sure it costs me, $100 to put together $10 worth of bolts by the time you're done. But yeah, what do? You kind of have to throw them away, right?
Yeah, no.
It's an endless problem for all of us.
Yeah. Now, okay, so you're doing fencing in Alaska and Oregon. Well, you start in Oregon, then you go to Alaska. Did you do anything in the meantime from, doing that fencing to when you open up your business?
Well, I started selling. My first job doing sales was San Diego Fence. So my whole family went to Alaska, and then there was a boom. It kind of took off, and then a lot of people don't know this was when like I don't remember what you used before, but there was a oil where everything kind of went down. They, where a lot of companies went out, contractors were going out of business in Alaska, and the boom kind of died down, and then they all moved, scattered. And once the company started crumbling, the family started fighting, and one uncle went here, the other uncle went there. And, we ended up in California, and I ended up selling fence at San Diego Fence with my uncle Tom. So that's kind of where it ended up, and then that probably started the whole really getting into the fencing.
So, do you have a huge family?
No, I just know
moving around.
Yeah, not really. Just my mom and a couple brothers of hers, and then had a sister and a brother, and they both passed away. But so it's really it's not a large family. Not anymore. I think the family businesses are rough on families, and everybody scattered, and then they never really quite bonded again.
Yeah, I mean, I did a solo podcast about the legacy lie, where you get a family business, and then you go to hand it to your kids, and they just see that amount of stress that you've been dealing with and stuff, and they just turn away, don't want the keys, and go do their separate things. So I understand what you're saying with that completely. Okay, so I think I seen too, Las Vegas Fence used to be called, is it Budget Fence? Is that right?
Yeah. So over 20 years ago, Budget Fence was my original company, and that was back. I don't know if you remember when you'd be looking for, like, there was a million AAA fences, and everybody wanted to be at the beginning of the yellow pages, because my first marketing, there was no internet. I mean, it was just, you bought a yellow page ad, you paid your $800 a month, and once a year, if things were doing great, you would bump your ad a little bit larger. But if you missed that, you had to wait a whole nother year for the next yellow page to go out. So B was closest to A that I could get that was kind of available in Nevada.
Did you ever pay the $800 to get bumped up?
Oh man, I remember buying like a quarter page ad or something. I never had the money to go, a full page ad. That was the big guys, I guess. But we were Budget Fence.
What made you come up with that name when you first started?
It was strictly about trying to get closer to the A for the yellow pages, and easy to read, easy to understand, easy to spell, and basically that was it. There was no actual like science behind it, other than just trying to get closest to A in the alphabet.
So, and I'm not trying to say you're old by any means, but so when the internet came out, is that when you switched to Las Vegas Fence?
Yeah, no, it was Las Vegas Fence. I knew the owner that owned Las Vegas Fence a long time ago, the Tangrins. I knew his dad really well, and I used to go up to Utah, and he had this really cool called Tangri-La. It was Tangrin was the last name, and it was like this 100-year lease he had from Utah or something, right? And it was on this river, and you could only get to it almost by plane. It had a little runway, and then it had this really crappy road that if you managed to be able to navigate it, you could get out there. But it was these really cool, all the furniture was from when they remodeled the Caesars in like the 80s or something. So they had these 10 rooms blasted into the side of the mountain, and they were all decorated in these, like, all those colors you'd see in the 80s at the Caesars, the bed and the furniture and everything, and then a big clubhouse. So I used to go up there a bunch with him, and then his son was kind of retiring, and then I kind of took over the name and the phone number and stuff from him. So it just kind of morphed into Las Vegas Fence.
Which I wanted to go back a little bit, because I wanted to ask, so obviously, Alaska, Oregon, San Diego, at what point did Brian decide, I'm going to land in Las Vegas, and why Las Vegas?
Well, I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that. That's an interesting story. So I was in actually Idaho at the time, and my same uncle that owned Anchorage Fence, he ended up starting Boise Fence. So I was going out and building fence with him at Boise Fence, and I remember I was living in this camper. I had a Toyota truck, right? But I had this camper that fit in the size of a full-size truck, and it wouldn't even fit in my Toyota truck. So it was just in my grandma's driveway, and I had like this golden lab that I found swimming in one of the drainage ditches, like in front of the place. And he was probably, I don't know, those labs get really big, right, when they get old and overweight. So he was in this camper with me, and I woke up, it was like the day before Christmas. And I remember going out and saying, hey, you guys, I think I'm going to leave because no matter what I did, it felt like I was going to go anywhere. It was like when anybody in my family had something, it felt like everybody kind of just, you just got absorbed into it. And I was like, man, I'm living in my grandma's driveway. And I told everybody I was leaving. And I went to like my cousin in Idaho, and I had this, I don't know if you remember compact computers. I don't know if you remember, you're old enough for that. So, but back then you used to have to finance these $2,000 computers for like $100 a month and stuff. So I went to him and I sold my computer for like $300 or $600 or $300 or something. And I started driving. I was going to try to go to Cali, and Las Vegas was about as far as I could get. I was running out of money. So, I ended up staying in Las Vegas, and I was sleeping in the circus parking lot. And they used to have like these camper areas where you could go, like motorhomes and stuff. And I was in this little Toyota truck, and I'm 6 foot something. So it's like you don't really just spread out in your Toyota. So late at night, I would just kind of go into one of these, when they'd have a motorhome, they sometimes have a spot next to it where you could park your car you're bringing. And I would just kind of cruise down that parking lot. And I would just turn my car off and coast in next to a motorhome at night. And then I'd hear everybody rustling around, starting to make breakfast, and I'd get up and time to go. But, and my food was, I'd go to the buffets and I'd eat. I remember going in the exits, and I would just grab stuff from a plate, and I'd go up to like where they had like, where they were cooking steak, they'd always have like a omelet station or a steak or something. And as long as you never sat down, they didn't catch you. So I would just eat line while I was waiting for this steak well done to take forever, right? And then I put my plate down and leave. And at night, how I'd get my drinks was I'd grab like an empty beer bottle or something that was like somebody sat down, like a glass drink or something next to a machine, and then I'd go and like stand next to the waitress stations, and I'd act like they bumped into me when they left. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, let me get you a drink. So that's how I ended up in Las Vegas.
That's crazy. Yeah. So how old were you roughly in this time frame?
I was probably 19, 20.
How scary was that, being a 19-year-old, and that's like the life that you were living at that time?
It was nerve-wracking. I think that's why I wasn't comfortable enough. I was showering at the truck stop. It was like $3, $4 to shower, but then you didn't want to sleep over there because it was like nerve-wracking in those areas where those were. So that's why I would go and hang out in the casino or something, and then I would go and go into where the motorhomes were and sleep in there where they had security. But so it was scary, and then being out on your own a little bit. And I was used to having all my my family around. But I knew that if I didn't leave, I was going to be 50 years old, just like everybody else in the family. And I'm like, I gotta take off, and then I started working for a fence company, and next thing you know fencing. Once you're in, you're in.
Once you're there, you're good. How long did it take you from when you started working with that fence company in Las Vegas to branch off and do your own thing?
Probably 3 or 4 years. I think I was about 23 when I first got my first contractor's license. 23, 24. And it started with they had Ahern Rentals, which is now part of like one of the other big rental companies. I don't remember what it is now, but and I remember buying like one of those groundhogs, which is probably why I still keep a groundhog. I don't know if it's just nostalgic or why I always keep a hydraulic one. Nobody wants to use it. They want to use the beavers and stuff, but I keep it, and I'm like, you got to take that out there. It's easy. You got to haul it behind your truck, but they don't want to take it. But I still, I keep one always, and I upgraded from that mechanical one to the hydraulic one because that's when I knew I made it.
Yeah. That's a pretty crazy story. Let's say hey to a couple of these people that stopped in real quick. We might be a little bit behind on them, but Aaron Preston stops in and says, "Good to see you, Brian."
What's up, Aaron?
Our friends over at JC Gurry says, "Hey guys."
Awesome.
Contractor Accelerator, Amanda's in the house saying, "Happy Tuesday, fence friends."
Hey, Amanda.
Aaron said, "Oh." He said, "You should have changed your name to Aaron. You would have been first in that phone book."
Aaron Spence. I know, it was already taken.
Josh Glover stops by and says, "I heart Brian."
Oh, man. I love Josh.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Jameson with Titan says, "What's going on, guys?"
What's up, man?
And then Orlando Hinge Company says, "Interesting." So he must have thought that was
I can't read any of those because I told you I don't have any glasses, and I don't know if it's dark out here or not, but it was awesome to see him pop up.
Yeah. I will say, guys, he did say beforehand, he goes, "I can't even see you. So I'm just going to roll with it." I was like, okay. One more here. DJ Robert Evers is in the house saying, "Hey."
Evers, what's up, man?
All right. So now that we have the journey of Brian so far, so Brian has started Las Vegas Fence now. How many years were you in Las Vegas Fence before you decide to start FWA?
Well, I guess it merged from Budget Fence to Las Vegas Fence, and then God, I'd say about 5-6 years by the time after it did the transition.
Okay. So you were Budget Fence for quite a while then, it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah. We always kind of work together. I mean, it's a small town. Our town, there's probably 5 of the, I'd say, the major company. I mean, when I first went there, it was only, 1 million or so people. So it's not, you see Las Vegas in the movies and stuff, and you think it's this giant place, but there was probably 5 of us that brought in 80% of the materials,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is the population in Las Vegas? Do you know?
I think it's closer to 3 now.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought Las Vegas was much bigger than that.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah.
Here in Indy, we're Indy surrounding areas, we're like 2.2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
just in one area. Yeah. That's why you go down to LA and it's like you drive in one direction, for 45 minutes, there's another million people, but we might as well be on an island. And that's, everybody that works for me has probably worked for me 3 times, and they leave, telling you, hey, this is the worst company to work for in the world. But they've been there 3 times. And then they come back and like, oh man, I don't know what I was thinking. I've grown up and I've matured since then. And all right, man, whatever, just get back in the truck. It's, just try not to burn the place down when you're leaving again next time. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's an island, so it's not like we can go, like I said, 45 minutes and find more people. It's 3-4 hours to more people.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So you only have competition from about 4 other companies in that area?
I think for our size, when it comes down, because in Nevada, it's really, we're probably the most regulated, overregulated in the country. And of course, now I talk to a lot of people in the country. California is not even close to us when it comes to how they regulate fencing. So when you get we probably have 6 different licenses, and your limit, you can only bid jobs up to a certain amount, and it takes you a while. And I mean, you got to have CPAs, audited financial statements, from all this stuff to get your limit up. So you may get a contractor's license and they'll say, hey, you can only bid jobs up to $10,000. So these larger jobs, you have to have a contractor's license that allows you to bid $1 million, $2 million, $3 million.
So let me ask this. So why did 19-year-old Brian not go, dude, there's a lot of regulations here. Why don't I just go right over here to Arizona or something? Why'd you stay there when you had all those things as a young kid?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Vegas, but also I was one of the people that probably thought I needed it, and probably why you see people don't realize why I push against certain things so much. I'm one of the reasons why even some of the other stuff like the gate safety stuff was in there. I mean, I was teaching 1.5-hour long presentations on UL, ASTM, and all this to the building officials. I became a member of the Southern Nevada International Code Council to help lobby this stuff. So until I realized what I was doing was just hurting the small contractors, and the only people that were benefiting from it in our state was the ones that had the money. And at this point, it's going to be franchises, venture capitalists, the people that can come in. And I think that's why a lot of people don't realize that I'm partially responsible for the damage that was done to Nevada.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we were going to start talking about the FWA stuff. So I know a little bit of the backstory, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was you didn't feel fully involved with other associations. And then you decided to start FWA. Is that correct? Kind of like a general summary.
Yeah, I think I reached out. I didn't know anybody, by the way. I couldn't have told you a single board. And sometimes people are like, hey, there's some beef with you and AFA. I'm like, that's impossible, because 3 years ago, I couldn't have told you the name of a board member. And even now, I probably couldn't name 1 or 2. So even Tony Thornton was in my inbox on LinkedIn for like 3 or 4 months, and I didn't know who it was. So I didn't even respond. So now, obviously, I've learned a lot of people. So there's really no beef with anybody when it comes down to that, because I didn't know anybody. You know what I mean? I didn't follow it. I'd been to like 1 or 2 fence techs in 10, 15 years. And I didn't even know, like, I guess there was a show that went on in Reno, and I'm in Nevada, that went on every 2-3 years. I didn't even know that existed, and I'm in Nevada. So that's how disconnected I was from the that part of it, the associations and things like that. And at that point, no one ever asked me to join, which was odd now looking at as someone from an association, considering I was in Nevada, right? But so I think I reached out and I was like, hey, I want to do this and this and this. And I really wasn't getting a response. It was like, yeah, well, you can join a chapter, or you can, and the people I was talking to, you can, do this. I didn't qualify to be on the board, really. I hadn't, you got to kind of work your way up into it to a degree. And I'm like, you know what? And I went to like one of the shows. I don't know if I ever told the story, but I went to one of the shows. I think I brought my, my father-in-law, which is, I don't know if you ever met Steve, little guy from Chicago. And, we walked up to one of the booths, I think one of the association booths, and he wanted to grab a hat and they pulled it back. And I remember I was standing there like, well, who are you? And I'm like, man, what do you mean, who is he? He's a fencer that just came 2,000 miles to come to this show. And he's got Las Vegas Fence on his shirt. And I remember thinking to myself, man, we can do better. And, we can make small fence companies feel better at these shows. And then I went around and I remember talking to, a few booths I walked into, and they just weren't interested to talk to me at the time, and I'm just like going, man, if this is how everybody feels. And I was buying $1 million a year worth of materials. Right. And I still wasn't getting like, treated like a guy that should have gotten when I went 3,000 miles. So it wasn't really out of spite or anything like that. Or I'm just thinking to myself, I want to start going to these things. And if I have to, I'll build one that I want to go to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So my question is, so when you said that you were going to booths and they were kind of, I don't want to be disrespectful, but they were acting a certain type of way towards you.
Nobody was welcome. It wasn't, you know what I mean? And I guess it felt like some of them, I'm just like going, well, you can't set up accounts. You can't talk to anybody. And I'm like, so I think it was just like, it wasn't like for small business. They were like, I felt like I needed to stay in the center of the aisle.
So did you decide when you started doing the fence show, because the fence show wasn't immediate, like right when FWA started, right?
It was like a year or so later, probably about a year.
So when you decided to start doing the fence show, was that a thing for you? Did you start thinking, okay, we're not going to invite such and such company because they were kind of rude and wouldn't, let me be a part of it or anything? Did you have that in the back of the mind whenever you were reaching out to companies?
No, I think we opened it up. In fact, I remember people coming and saying, hey, I'm at the thanks I was getting, which was, and I guess that's how I knew what I was doing was needed to be done. I was getting a lot of thanks from people saying, hey, we've been trying to break into the industry for a while and we weren't able to do this. And I was getting some calls even to the point where it's like, hey, you know what, if we do this show, usually so-and-so is not there. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. I mean, you go to any expo hall and throw a rock and this guy wronged this guy, or this guy is stealing this guy's product. Or, I mean, there's no way to understand. I mean, everybody thinks somebody else has either stolen their idea or a version of what they're building or doing. And, it's like everybody had a great idea and some guy created a kiosk. You're like, you know what, back in 95, I came up with that idea. I was going to put these kiosks in a mall where people could come up and touch it. And you know what I mean? And I think I'm like, I am not here to regulate that, man. Everybody in the fence industry. And I think we reached out to all the associations, everybody, and every year we offer a free booth to every association. And my dream is one day to have an entire aisle, go to demo days, and some of the associations are there. NAFCA's there every year and stuff like this too. An aisle with all the associations. I mean, because it's not a zero-sum game. It's you can join all of them, join 1, join 2, join 3. It's not like you're winning a project. Like, one person's getting this install job, one person's getting the material sales on it. No, you could watch multiple podcasts. You can read magazines. You can go to, you could go to multiple shows. You can join multiple associations. And I don't think we have enough of all of them, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Neri has a comment. Justin Neri says, we talked about this at AFA mid-year this year, that we need to market more, the industry does, to $3 million companies and less.
Yeah.
And I mean, I agree. I think that's the people that I think are struggling more and trying to look for more of those connections than obviously the big companies and things like that. But in two, I will say too that I've said multiple times on the show, I think that having multiple associations, like we have NAFCA, we have FWA, we have AFA, I think they're good for each other. They all have their own place. And I think that they all push each other to set the bar a little higher, right?
Yep.
So obviously AFA has more, legal loopholes that they have to deal with and stuff than NAFCA or FWA does.
Not really. we all have the same rules and the same laws. It's just it just feels like that, right? Because as you get bigger, but reality is we can all support small fence companies if that's what we want, and support from one truck all the way up to 50. It's just which ones have more ROI, and it's just our association will be the same as everything else. Once the board completely takes it over, then every decision is based off an ROI, and then you know what? I'll start another association, and they can have FWA, and we'll go back and start over. So,
Wait,
right?
are you saying that you're going to have a board here soon?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's bound to happen. You know what I mean? Because I mean, my intention was never to spend my whole life, running. I just haven't found anybody that has the passion to completely take over, and run in the direction that I want it to run. I don't want it to turn, into, just tied down to trying to see, hey, what's the most we can make out of this expo? What's the most we can make out of the education? And it's quickly, and even I do that sometimes. I'm like, man, we got to, we got to be careful because we're going to lose money on this. And you know what? You got to lose some money sometimes, and in order to go in the direction you want to go.
Yeah. Which I was going to try to pull this up because I was going to say, which speaking of losing money, there is somebody that is losing some money somewhere. Where can I find this thing? Let me see. I gotta see where I found this thing. I seen somewhere you guys are doing something. It's like $199.
Yeah.
And I can't find it, of course. But somewhere I seen $199. It got them like a room, breakfast, lunch, show floor tickets. What else did it have?
Yeah, well, I mean that passed the 199, and I think it was down to 150, now it's 199. That's the full throttle pass, and of course you get food, you get drinks, you get some you get some stuff that's offered during the expo and snacks and things like that. Plus you get access to all the education classes. It goes on and this is like close to 40 different instructors going on over 5 days. And the first 2 days is just 4 different rooms packed full of education and instructors from know your customers to sales to marketing, gate operator certification. And then it continues on through the show before the expo hall hours. So it's normally these classes, and you'd be spending thousands of dollars to go to one, and it's all during the show. So yeah, we definitely, by the time you could drink $199 worth of beer in Vegas, I think, in a week. So it's definitely, it's a way to help. And I think a lot of people don't realize that we sell those because, I mean, to do these shows costs hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to pull one of these things off. So when I've had people do that, they're like, oh man, you must be killing it. I've counted the booths. You've got 100 of these 10 by 10s at $2,400. That's blah, blah, blah. And they got this booth. I'm like, okay, but you're not writing the checks for $100,000 for food and beverage. You're not writing, $100,000 of the expo service, and the $150,000 for this, and the $30,000 for the audio visual. So imagine setting that up in 2 ballrooms and 4 classrooms for a week with people managing it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just endless what it costs. So when people buy those passes, what you're really doing is helping us cover the food and beverage minimum in a way, So we're just trying to recover some of the costs of doing the expo.
Yeah, which obviously costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a huge package to have. I assume, and maybe this is an off-air question, but whenever people are getting the hotels and stuff, I assume, do you guys get any kind of kickback for that?
Not usually. We get some. What we do is every certain number of rooms that gets booked, we get I guess 40 or 50 rooms. We get like a free room night towards one of the house rooms that we have, which is a lot because there's a lot of staff that's staying on property, and we don't stay for just like 2 days. It comes in like a few days before the show and ends up, after the show. So it goes towards those free room nights we get. So yeah, definitely. When you book a room, it helps us. We get like a free room night for every certain number of rooms. And luckily we end up with, I think last year it was like 3,000 to 4,000 room nights or something, which is really cool, for the show. We're like a third of the hotel. That's why if you ever been to this thing, you go down to those bars and they're just everywhere's packed with fencers, sitting around.
Yeah. Do you get to carry that money over, or do you have to spend it like that year?
Yeah, well, it would just go towards our bill. I mean, we just get a massive bill there. So there's definitely, we don't walk away from the hotel doesn't give us a check.
Yeah. Not like,
I wish.
you only used 8 rooms and you had enough for 9. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I also I wanted to talk to you about your education, because I seen somebody dropped a schedule. Was it Susan? Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think I seen her drop a schedule somewhere. You got quite a bit of education going on.
This is the most we've ever had. It's like running another show during the show. And it's kind of cool. I know Veronica and then Tony Thornton's helping out a lot with it now. So he'll be doing some stuff with the education as well. And then we've got some stuff on the stage that's going to be getting announced. So you'll see a lot more speakers on the stage this year. It's definitely the biggest thing we've ever tried to do education wise. So, and the workbooks are phenomenal. So it's not like we just grabbed a bunch of people and said, hey, go into this room and teach whatever you want. And, they're running out of stuff to say 30 minutes later or trying to wing it, right? It's booklets. You're going to go home with a, actual book list for the classes you were in with what you learned. And, and at least you got something to go back. If you are being sent there by your employer or something, you get to go back and say, this is what we learned. So we studied, get some certificates. We're trying to step it up. I mean, we're new at doing it. So we don't have, decades and decades of experience at it, but I think we've learned from the past years.
Yeah. Which I seen too. I got it pulled up now. I see, because everything seems like a race theme, full throttle, full day tracks, track 1 through 6, it looks like. I wanted to ask you, kind of go back a little bit. Where did the race theme come into play?
Yeah. Well, it's more of a, I love desert racing. I don't know if anybody knows that, but dude, you could give me a cooler with like, a 12-pack of beer and some vodka and some tonic, and I could just sit out in the dust and watch these cars go by. And every time I see one jump in the air and that softness, I don't know if you're visioning it now, that truck going, that one of these series trucks going up and there's trophy trucks in the air, and then the tires are about 4 feet below the truck. And then when it hits, it's like it landed on a cloud. I don't know what it is, man. It's just the adrenaline rush I get in it. So I think it was more like the full throttle on that. And then I remember sitting around, and, we typically change the logos and stuff of the show, right? And I'm like, I'm going to do the same thing as everybody else. This is just going to get stale. People are going to be like, this is the same thing every year. And if anybody knows about me, it's, one thing you worry is I never worry about somebody copying me, because if by the time you get done copying me, it was last year and I'm already working on something new. So I'm like thinking to myself, we've got to wake this thing up. We got to get the industry going again. And I'm like, we got to get people going full throttle, not just on like the racing and stuff. I was more go full throttle on your company and what you're doing, your education. And I think it worked out pretty good, because it's something I chase things that I believe in, and I think that comes out in my videos and my posts and my pictures, and I'm passionate about it. And full throttle was that, not just racing, but more the desert dirt racing, which is what we are more than, other stuff.
Yeah. More than Indy, because, racing capital of the world. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was going to say more than that. And I'm like, oh, great. No, we are. We're both, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you. So with this many tracks, I guess you'd say, 6 of them, and then it looks like you guys have a full schedule. Obviously, it's hard to get people in to teach, right? To do the education and stuff. I see you guys posting, educator, this one's educator, and I keep seeing new educators now.
Yeah.
So are you running into a situation like some people maybe just can't, they back out, and then you got to replace them with somebody else? Or, how often is that moving? Or are you just trying to add more?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say anybody's a backup. I think only out of like at least 40 to 50 who have said, hey, I can't really do it. So we're not really trying to get backups to it, like, things like that. It was actually, in order to actually be announced as an instructor, you would have had several actual Zoom calls, meetings. You would actually reviewed what were some of the stuff that we actually would send for you to review and say, hey, is this something that you want to teach? Are you going to be able to do this? So this is definitely a tougher time getting in to be an instructor for Full Throttle than any of the other years, because and a lot of them gave us notes like, hey, this is what I like, this is what I don't. Then we went back to the edits on these booklets, and there's a instructor booklet, and then there's the student workbooks. So a lot went into each one of these instructors, and they invested a lot of time into it. So if they weren't going to come, you're probably not going to sit through all these meetings, and you're going to be not helping us edit these books for you specifically.
Yeah. Are your educators getting these comp rooms?
There's a random. I mean, for the most part, people get their rooms, but we have so much staff, man. It's crazy, and then we got people coming in from all over the country and things like that. And then there's just a lot of volunteers and stuff that come in and help. And then even like our, a lot of times if you go, you'll see a lot of Las Vegas fence people and stuff that help, that work the doors and all those stations. Well, we're real big on making sure people aren't drinking and driving. And, I mean, let's face it. I mean, these are fencers too. And I'm going to have these guys there all week. And it's hard for me to just, I'm not going to be crazy and assume that none of these guys are going to have a single drink all week. So I'm like, no, you guys are all staying in the room. I need you down here at 5 a.m. So, stay on property.
How much money does Las Vegas Fence lose the week of the fence show?
Oh, yeah. All year. What do you mean? Not just a week. I mean, we pretty much almost shut down 2 weeks to a month. I mean, we shut down Las Vegas Fence for a full 2 weeks for the show, because it takes a full week. Even after all year, we're planning it, right? And all year we're prepping and things like this, getting ready. And then it takes a full week to load everything, get it all palletized on the trucks. And then it takes, we start loading in the Friday almost before, and then start setting up as early as Sunday. And then you just, it's crazy. We start warning customers that, hey, if we don't finish your job by this, we tell people, if you don't give us the go ahead this week, it's going to be 3 weeks before we even get someone out to mark the ground. So and we leave one person at Las Vegas Fence sometimes, which is just to receive packages and things, and everybody's over there. So it stresses out the salespeople. It stresses out everybody. That's like, no, I'm going to keep running these leads. I'm like, you're not, because we can't start those jobs. Okay, we can't. And I don't want trucks in there working, because you're taking phone calls. I mean, you're dealing with install stuff that crews forgot this, and I mean, I don't care how organized you are. Somebody's going to forget a tension band, a gate latch, the generator stopped working, the welder, maybe they busted an irrigation pipe, or some permit issue. And I'm like, I don't want to be dealing with that in the middle of the expo.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awful, really.
Can you imagine, like, you're trying to do this expo and you've got 2,000 people that just got there, and all of a sudden your crew just busts the main irrigation line going into an apartment complex or something, or a fiber optic line, and took out, some building full of fiber optics, and you're trying to deal with the show.
Yeah. Well, and I feel for you on that, because so a lot of people don't know this, but I used to own a company where I ran youth basketball tournaments, and we would run, 200, 250 team tournaments. So you think about that, each team's got about 10 kids. They bring about 2.5, parents, aunts, uncles, whatever. So we're running an event with, 3,000-4,000 people, and trying to put that thing on. And then you got to think referees, all that. Like, yes, I feel for people that are putting these things on, because there's so much stuff that happens behind the scenes that people don't really understand until they got the shoes on, right?
Yeah. So, we're in meetings until 10 p.m. And it's hard on the show, because, I want to go hang out with people. Think about it. Even out of these thousands of people, there's all your buddies and people you talk to, people that are in town, and everybody's, oh, let's go to dinner, let's do this, let's have a drink, at least have one drink. And the whole show I'm walking around, everybody's handing me a drink because they just want to have a drink with you. And I'm like, man, I've got a function. Trust me, there's nothing more than I'd love to do than sit here at the bar with you until midnight and have a drink and go to the cigar bar and sit there. But I got to be up at 4 a.m, and most of those mornings, I was down if you go to the show and you went down there at 3 a.m, sometimes 2, 3 a.m, and you knocked on the registration thing, I'm probably in there on my computer, doing quotes or something, trying to type stuff up that's got to get out that day. And then the show starts. People are starting to get there at 5 or 6. So it's, can you imagine trying to smoke cigars and drinking a bunch of rum and stuff until midnight, 1 a.m?
Yeah, Pretty wild.
I save that for fence tech. That's what I do when I go to fence tech. That's when I go to the cigar bars and I get drunk and get to hang out with everybody.
Breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Jameson says rooms are $95 and honestly probably the cheapest rooms for a trade show around.
Yeah, they're $85 plus the fees, the whatever the cost. Yeah.
Aaron says, thanks for sharing your story, Brian. It just makes us love you more.
Aaron's awesome, man.
Desiree says, hey guys, loved the show last year. Looking forward to this one even more.
Desiree's cool.
Yeah. They do some good content. I like their content.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break a second and do our rapid fire questions that Brian did not want to hear beforehand. So
let's do it.
You know me, I like to just wing it. So
yeah.
Let's.
Well, I'm glad you asked. Actually, everybody, it's mainly protein drinks, and you're not going to ask that, right? That's okay. No. Okay.
So our rapid fire questions this week brought to you guys by Brand Builders. If you guys need a website, reach out to Brand Builders. Alex will take care of you guys. And I believe there's a Fence Guy podcast discount. You get 50% off, I think, your first month. So check them out. All right. So question number one, you run a fence show in Las Vegas. Has anything happened at the show that would make a great Vegas story that you absolutely shouldn't tell on camera, but you're about ready to?
That would make a great Vegas story.
Yeah.
I remember one of my guys just disappearing, and we thought that he'd quit or something, and it turns out that security had him for like 3 or 4 hours because he was being belligerent. And other than that, but I mean, other than that, everything goes pretty damn smooth. I mean, I'm working the whole time, man. It is one of those things where it is like a blur. It's like one day, it just flows. Oh, here's one. Okay, so I don't know if it's a Vegas story or not. I don't know if you were at the show where we had the drummers out front, and that was our opening ceremony. And it was these drummers that I had, and I've known this guy for 20 years that actually does the drums and the DJ. So he starts banging these things, and it was the loudest thing you could possibly imagine. And people down in the casino could hear it, and it's freaking the horses out down below. And I'm like, man, we've got hundreds of people in the lobby, and they're all, we can't ruin the vibe. And all of a sudden I'm getting messages that they're looking for us. They're trying to shut this thing down. And I just remember going, Marissa was working. She comes, I'm like, Marissa, hide. I go, keep this, don't stop this. Keep it going, keep it going. And next thing you know, they're just looking for us to shut it down. And then that was the year that we ended up having to, it just kept going and going. We ended up saying, okay, we're not gonna be able to finish the ceremony. We opened up the doors and we turned it into like a parade. Like like it was planned, like we're gonna go, like the whole thing was meant to go through the whole, the floor with this group of people, but it wasn't planned. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah. I think that was your first show. I think I was there for that one because those drums were loud.
Oh, that was crazy. And then we got our hands slapped and warned a little bit on that one. And then now we have to announce, hey, if you're gonna be doing that, if you're gonna be doing smoke, you're gonna do this. But it was kind of one of those ask for forgiveness. Thanks.
That's funny. All right, so question number 2, Fence Company Association Trade Show, Supply Group, Healthcare Program, Podcast. Your doctor says one of those got to cut tomorrow. Which one goes?
Fence Show, Podcast, Healthcare. I would say Fence Company because, I would say I think the next phase for everything I'm doing, I think I can do so much more with everything else that we're doing. And I don't think the industry needs me to have a fence company, but the rest of it, I think if I give up anything else, it would risk those 100, 200 people that have healthcare. And that is probably one of my biggest passions behind what we do is those fence companies that are, I believe it keeps them in our industry. And also knowing that there's people out there that send me messages saying, hey, my kid was able to go get antibiotics because he was sick or this. And I think that knowing that I was responsible for, families to get some preventative care that might have kept somebody from getting cancer like my wife got. And kept somebody from, maybe leaving our industry, or some kid that getting sicker than he had to be. I think I would be more afraid of losing something else that's feeding, that part of what I do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Number 3. So Alaska fence work versus Las Vegas fence work. Which one is actually trying to kill you more?
The heat in Nevada. The ground is harder and the heat is tougher, man. I think Alaska may have some wild animals, but I think I'd rather fight off some wild animals than fight off that 115-degree heat, man. It's yeah.
Crazy.
And the ground is hard, man. The ground is hard. We get a lot of guys that come work for us and they're like, "Oh no, I'm used to the heat. I'm from Alabama, or I'm from here, or I'm from there, and it's hot." And I'm like, "Okay, well, it's hot, but have you dug through hard ground while it's hot?" Okay, and they last like 3 weeks or a month in the summer and they're gone.
Like, see ya.
Yeah.
Number 4, what's the most ridiculous custom fence request that you've ever gotten in Las Vegas? And remember, this is Vegas, so nothing should surprise you.
It was that's the easy one. It was probably 2, but I'd say one would have been Siegfried and Roy. I don't know if you remember them when they were at Mirage and stuff. So it was over at Roy's house up in you wouldn't even know that he had his house up there, but it was up north, and it was like behind a landscape company where it looked like, I think it was kind of like it was a good ruse because it was behind this company that sold trees and landscape, but you go down a road and you go in the back, and he had this big pond. And he had these doves, or these, I don't know what they're not doves, they were like these swans, the big ones in there. And I guess these swans weren't getting along. So he, and we did a lot of work for them back then. So he drained this lake and we built this fence that went down like 10 feet in and up about 15 feet up. And it was to keep the 2 swans away from each other. So he paid, fencing went up a lot, right? Since back then. It was like the 90s, 2000. And he paid like 25 grand or something for this fence. And that would be like the equivalent of like a $80,000 or $100,000 fence now, right? So, and then 2 weeks later, after we built this fence, he called back and said, "The swans are getting along and I want you to remove the fence." So that was probably one of the weirdest things.
That's crazy.
Right? We charged him 20 grand to take it out.
Well, that's a good profit.
Yeah.
Didn't one of them get eaten by a tiger or something? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, I it's crazy. It's like you get hooked on watching those shows, and they always get taken out by their pet tigers or alligators. You see that guy, and I'm bad because I don't want to see these alligators. I don't like seeing alligators, but I stop and watch it. So now my feed just feeds me all of this crap that I don't want to see, right? Which is people getting mauled by tigers and alligators, right? And so they always get taken out at some point by the, "Oh man, I trust it because I raised it," and then all of a sudden it kills them, and they're like, or takes their arm off and they're shocked, right? I'm like, we're not shocked. How could you be shocked?
No, not at all. Or like those people that put their head in the alligator's mouth. They're like, "Oh, this is completely safe."
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And they're like, I can't believe this alligator took my arm off. I'm like, you're the only person on the planet that is surprised that alligator that you were swimming with every day took your arm off. Yeah, just you.
That's hilarious. All right, last question brought to you guys by Brand Builders. The FWA finally gets an official theme song. Who is it, or what is it? And who's performing it at the opening of the Fence Show?
Finally get a theme song.
Yeah,
I don't know, Bad to the Bone, man. And I think it's going to be Bad to the Bone, and I'm going to have Brooks sing it. With his crazy hair, you know what I mean? When he's got like the full facial gear going, and he's got like his hair sticking up like that, that kind of vibe.
He's got to be playing the guitar too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be full character.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was our rapid fire questions brought to you guys by Brand Builders. Make sure you reach out to them, get you a website.
And that's Cannon and Alex Harris, man. A couple of really genuine dudes, man.
Yeah, well, Cannon's not doing it anymore. It's just Alex now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. This comment's a little bit older. Desiree said, "Thanks. I run the content."
Yeah. She does a lot.
Z&D is here, says Elvis again.
Yeah, Elvis is awesome. Did you see the Michael Jackson that we had out there?
I didn't see that.
We had a flash mob. I think it was last time we had a flash mob that came out. So we had it was kind of cool. Elvis came out and started marrying people. It was like a distraction, and then another one. And next thing you know, we had like these flash mob people that looked like they were coming for the expo, and we gave them badges and everything, and they're blending in with the crowd. And then we had Michael Jackson come out, and they thought him singing was it, but then all of a sudden he does Thriller, and then all these flash mob people that we hired were blended in with the people waiting to get in, start doing the Thriller, and back and forth. It was kind of cool. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Aaron says, "Hell yeah."
It was awesome.
And then Alex says, "Yes, he was legit."
Yeah.
I think.
Cool.
I think I just seen Alex just got engaged, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe I just seen that. I think
that's cool.
He waited 7 years or something like that.
Until he was probably it was defaulted to that anyways. He's like, I might as well do it because the government considers us married, right?
We're here. Let's just.
All right.
She said, "Yes, MJ looked like the real deal."
Yeah, dude. We're really picky about this stuff, man. We flew him in. A lot of people don't know. We flew him in, put him in a room, everything from LA. And you wouldn't think you'd have to fly people in to Las Vegas, entertainers, right? But all the Michael Jacksons that we were trying to interview and stuff locally weren't good enough. So this guy came in from LA, was the best Michael Jackson we could find.
Wait, hold on. Time out. Are you guys doing like American Idol where it's like you and Susan and Veronica, Sasha, you guys are like all sitting up here and these entertainers are coming up and they're auditioning in the front?
We should at some point do like something that's like halfway in between the shows where we actually do this live and we have entertainers audition to come to the show.
That wouldn't surprise me with you, man, because you put out so much content. I'm like, I could totally see you doing something like that for sure.
I'm saving that in my databanks right now.
Yeah. That's hilarious. All right. So we've covered FWA. We've covered obviously your journey. Looks like we got a question here. Sean Behensky says, "What's up, brothers? Brian, what is the number one thing you are most proud of that you have accomplished?" Getting deep. I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, it would be the healthcare, hands down. It would be the people that are, and I know I beat that because I don't think we understand. If you've had it healthcare and you have it all, I don't think you understand what it's like to be able to go home to your wife and say you have some healthcare, or being able to sit. If you've interviewed, I know you've interviewed people. Being able to sit across from somebody and they say, "Hey, do you have healthcare? Do you have this?" And it's $50 to $100 a month. And granted, it's not the same as $800 to $1,000 healthcare, but at least you can sit across from somebody and say, "We have something to offer." And it may be the difference between them having to go drive a forklift at Southern Wine and Spirits or work at 7-Eleven, and they want to stay in the fence industry. So I think I'm the most proud of helping people get health insurance and stay in the fence industry and turning guys that build fence on the weekend into full-time fencers.
Yeah, I think that's all great, so I was wanting to kind of go down that hole a little bit because that's the reason why you are where you're at, right? You're doing some health stuff. You want to kind of explain what that is real quick?
Yeah, so this is rest. It's rest mission. So what they do is here we're setting up the first phase is going to be a medical clinic, which actually is for dentistry. So a couple pallets full of donated dental equipment that actually Founders Fence donated the money so they could purchase, and which obviously I know them really well. So once I heard about that, I'm like, we're in, man. What do we got to do to help? And so they're going to set up a 4-day clinic. It's a mobile clinic that'll keep getting set up. Where the community around here is one of the communities that probably needs the help the most. And a lot of people don't realize that these are citizens of the U.S. I mean, this is like a neighborhood down the street. And most of these people, if they stay, this is a lot of dropouts, high dropout rate in this area. If they stay in school, and sometimes the difference are these after school programs, this medical. Right now, the first phase is dental. Then you'll get some general practice and some other stuff. And then after school programs. Some of these guys are going to end up getting educated and moving to the States. And, it's a matter of just getting enough money to get on a plane, and they're up there legally working at your fence company. So I think it's huge. This is the stuff that makes an impact on our economy and also, industries as a whole.
Yeah. I think it's huge. And when I found out what you were doing now, because I told you, I was like, man, is this guy getting ready to go down here and say that the next fence show is about to be down there? And I was like, it would make sense. No passports or anything like that are needed.
Yeah.
But no, you're actually down there, helping the citizens and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And I want to.
We were meeting with the mayor here today, and because he some pretty good connections down here with rest and stuff. And afterwards, I'm like, you guys, we should just take over this town square, and we should get all the vendors down here, and we should get all the fencers down here. That's funny you would say that. My brain starts going, man, we should just literally come down here and do a big event, and all these businesses around here would love it. We could bring some money to the economy here, and there's hotel rooms. It's cheaper. We can get everybody down to Puerto Rico, check the beaches out. And so yeah, you said that, but I mean, we got the demo days in Florida coming up in February. We've got the, this show and next show. I'm not ready to do one that's, that far away. Not yet.
Yeah. I wanted to ask too, because, and don't be mad at me because I feel like I'm going to mess up the name, but you guys started, was it International Fence Association, or what was it called?
Fence. Yeah. So you're talking about the World Fence Federation.
Yes. World Fence Federation.
Yep.
What happened with that? What's going on with it?
Yeah. So that is we're still building relationships with UK. So if we do go somewhere, it's going to be across the pond over to UK. And we're still working with some people over there. And I think, and the plan behind that is basically what's happening is we're slowly losing a little bit of our market share in the US. I mean, we can old guard it as much as we want. We can put our arms prison style around it and say, nobody's going to get my food, but they're going to slowly reach in and grab, one of your rolls or a piece of your fry or something. Right. So we're slowly losing a little bit of market share, 2%, 1%, 3%, 5%. And next thing you know, we're 10% of our market share is being grabbed by European and Asian companies, which I'm not opposed to. Don't get me wrong. It's just, that's our industry around the world, and it's opening up around the world. So, but I don't think we do enough to go and say, hey, you know what? You want 5% of our market share? Let's go over there and let's do something to help these companies from America go over there and, be able to sell to the UK, sell to, Europe and Asian markets. I think we just have told ourselves that they're just going to come take some of our market share. We're not going to go take some of theirs. So I'm like, we got great products here. Let's go over there and say, hey, you know what? If you're going to have some of your booths here, let's go over there and do some cross marketing and let's get some of these American companies at the shows there.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. When I first heard the name of it, I was like, did Brian just start a fencing, like wrestling, like federation thing? Like what is this? So
I'm a Star Trek fan, dude. So I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what that was. I'm like, man, I'm sick of hearing association, the name, all that. I'm like, and there's stigmas behind everything. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what? We something that would help bring associations together too. Something above even FWA, AFA, NAFCA, these other associations. Something that's not really above it, but it helps bring it together to where there's not a rivalry. It benefits everybody, and everybody can kind of join. That's kind of the goal of the whole thing is, and maybe it promotes all of it. You know what I mean? Instead of, and I told you before, it's not a zero-sum game. You know what I mean? You can have multiple associations, multiple shows, and you don't have to just go to one. It's not a project that only one person's getting.
Yeah. So then I guess we covered all that. Oh yeah. The last thing I wanted to cover was, the podcast, because you have a podcast. It's on Wednesdays. What
Thursday.
time is it?
Thursday. It used to be Wednesdays. Well, my wife gets her chemo on Wednesdays every week, so that's why I was like, people don't realize I was down out in the lobby trying to connect to Wi-Fi, and I'm like, man, I can't do this anymore. We're moving it to Thursday. So I can not be under the pressure of wondering if my mics are working and the signal in the place is working.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, it takes a lot of work to do the podcast and things like that.
Yeah.
So everybody had questions about the podcast and how you started it. Obviously, I don't know if Cannon wasn't still involved with that, was he? Whenever
with my fence life, it was just Dan. I think he'd already left.
Okay. what made you want to approach that situation and buy that My Fence Life instead of just starting a different one?
Well, I couldn't afford what everybody wanted for me to use them to market it. So I had to come up with a way to market the stuff that we're doing. And everybody knows me. I'm going to do it. I mean, I'm going to invite somebody to come along with the ride with me, but just because they don't want to come along on the ride with me doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. So if I say I'm doing a show and you say, well, I'm against it, well, it's not going to stop me from doing it. If I say I'm doing this, I mean, because my long-term goal, like I said, is to get more healthcare, to get the free resources out to the guys that want to start off and get, help them get their contracts down and their quote forms, all this. So, and if that means I've got to go do it alone, which I did. I mean, when it came to doing this first show, this is not a welcoming industry. Just like, when you want to start anything in our industry, it's, unless you want to, blindly follow the path it was on, you get shunned. And the people that normally fund everything, the big money and the big funders, they won't support you until you start proving that you can do it. And even then it's a unwelcoming industry for anybody that wants to do anything other than follow.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Trust me.
Yeah.
From doing this. It's a lot of work. Because I believe at one point you actually said we were the second best fence show on Tuesday night. So I'm just saying,
yeah,
I believe you said that. And I was like, this mother sucker.
You were the best on Friday, remember? But I got the women of FWA, man. They're always on chasing my tail. So yeah, if you'd have chose any other day, you'd have been the best one that day. But I picked my battles, and I'll go to war with you over the women of FWA any day of the week.
I don't blame you for that. I will say, for me, Friday was kind of like the same way with you and Wednesday, right? It just it didn't work with life anymore. And it was like, man, my son played high school football, Friday Night Lights. Of course, I'm not going to miss that. So, and then at that time, you were on Wednesdays. Yep. And then Thursdays was Turbyville. There was nobody on Mondays, but I was like, it's Monday. Like, people are watching Monday Night Football, stuff like that. So I was like, well, I guess Tuesdays it is. So that's where we landed.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 or 3 of you guys on Tuesday or something, right?
Yeah.
But luckily, these are all recorded. It's you hear me say it. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people in our industry, so there's going to be people that there's people that like your personality, and there's people that don't like your personality. There's people that that like Billies and don't like Billies, or they like the women FWA and they don't want to hear women talk about fence. There's people that like me and don't like me, and there's enough people to watch everything, and eventually they probably watch them all anyway. So I bet you the people that don't like you watch it more than the ones that do anyway. So they're loyal, even if you pick a time on top of somebody else. The ones that don't like you are loyal.
Oh yeah. Because you gotta love it when they comment, because they
don't realize that every comment pushes you to the top, right?
Yeah. You're like, oh, really? Go ahead.
You showed me. Right?
Yeah. And I agree, because and honestly, with ours, like, yes, we get quite a few live viewers, but most of our viewers come afterwards when they're on job sites or in the office, and they're listening to you in your headphones. And stuff like that. So that part of it didn't really bother me as much. But and then I wanted to ask you too, one more thing before I want you to wrap up with telling everybody how to get to the fence show and stuff like that. But so you were My Fence Life, and then you changed it to, what was it? The industry
Trade industry only. Yeah. Trade industry only.
And then now it's Fence Podcast. Why do you keep changing name? Like, where are you trying to land at here?
Well, we're trying to align the branding all together more too. It's like, the Fence Show, the Fence Magazine, the Fence Podcast, the Fence University. So the branding is just more aligned. And the trade industry podcast, the plan was, I just don't have enough time for everything. So trust me, if I wanted to dedicate all the time to the trade industry podcast, and I think my vision for that was going to be, hey, we're going to go and we did. We had, the SBA on there. We started chasing some of this stuff. And I get these crazy ideas, and then I end up being 2, 3 in the morning every night for a long time. And then my wife's mad at me, and I'm just like going, man, I've got to focus in on certain things a little bit harder. And I just, and I love podcasts, dude. I love to get online and get on the air, and I do, man. I wish I could do a podcast every single day, but there's no money in it. I mean, you dedicate a lot of time and you sacrifice a lot of stuff, like your Friday night football, your kids stuff, and my time. I'm stressed out all day that I should have been sitting there supporting my wife and things. So I wasn't able to put into the trade industry podcast what I wanted to put into it, because so much of my content and information is around fence, and I can't take the time it would take to fully build it where I'm now talking to roofers and plumbers and electrical, and I think that was what I realized, that and then algorithms don't like that either, and it's not fitting the brand. So it had to go back over into fencing.
Yeah. That's funny that because we've talked about doing that, not just staying in the fence world.
Yeah.
We've talked about, going outside of it as well. Just because, there's only so many fence people,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you really want to grow this thing more and more and bring value to everybody, we felt like we probably need to do the same thing, which obviously you can tell too. We've changed the show more into like a personal thing, right? And getting to know people rather than just coming on and, promoting the crap out of something, or I want to try to learn the people in the industry more, learn the human being more than anything. So that's one of the things that we've been trying to push a lot. So
this is the most personal podcast I've ever been on.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Which, let the record show, I think you were like guest number 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah, right in the beginning. Yeah.
Whenever we first started a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I've tried to get a hold of you. I think somehow we're not friends on social media. I know you can't
on our
see
social
me.
media.
I'm looking at you with big eyes right now.
I can't. Luckily, I can't see your dog eye. But
you can't see me anyways. But I'm looking at you going, because I tried to message you, and apparently it won't let me message you. So
on Facebook, there's like 10,000 now. I switched it over to there's a couple different profiles you can have on Facebook, and a lot of people don't know, man. There's I think it's something like a couple million views a month on my personal Facebook page for somehow, and I don't know what that all is. And it's just my whole Facebook Messenger is just full of just messages, and but it's not people I know. It's just weird stuff.
Yeah,
weird stuff, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
it's probably a little bit of mixture of both. Yeah, it wouldn't even let me see. So I reached out to Susan because I knew that she could get a hold of you. So then, but yeah, so obviously, I know that you're down there and you're doing a good cause down there, and we'll give you a round of I don't even know where it's at. There we go. The crowd was a little delayed. So anyways, you want to kind of tell everybody how much more time do they have to get into the fence show and kind of do their thing. How long is this $199 deal going on, and what are we looking at here?
Yeah, the $199 will probably stay for a while, and then I think it normally bumps up a little bit the week of. Once we shut down the online registration. That's just because it becomes more work to get it all in the system, and it clogs up a little bit if too many people are trying to register on site opposed to doing early. So we do give you a break to do it online, because then you're filling it all out. If it takes you 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, it's 3 minutes that somebody's not standing behind you, in line to try to get their badge. So we do appreciate if you do it online early, because they'll probably save you $50 or whatever it is, the day of when you try to upgrade to the full throttle pass. But you just go to fenceshow.com. It's the same every year, and then you click on which event you want. I think the two that are up there right now is Demo Days, which is in Florida, and then the Fence Show in Las Vegas. And by the way, a lot of people don't know that we became a staple at this property, which is kind of cool. So we no longer have to fight for our slot, which before, the reason it fluctuated a lot was because it would be August, September, October, then September, May plates, because we had to get all 4 expo halls, the 4 training rooms, typically one of the banquet rooms. And as we've grown, so now we're locked in first week of October every year. So we don't have to everybody just knows it's the first week of October. We're not going to have to fight for our spot. So that was a big deal for us that we became one of their major shows for the property. So I wanted to announce that because it seems like a milestone for us when you do an expo. Most of them fail the first year. So here we are in year 4 going on 5. It's a big deal for us. So, and it's because everybody coming, and supporting it. So go to fencshow.com. Education starts on the 5th, the Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, like always, is when about noon is when the expo hall opens up. And that goes on for basically 2.5 days.
Okay. Well, cool. We'll maybe get a link or something to share with all you guys checking out. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, reach out to Brian and his team. Go check it out and stuff, and see what you guys think about it. So we do have a couple more comments here. Aaron said, where was it? Aaron said that he wanted to get one of those T-shirts. I'm assuming he's talking about the world. What was it again? World Federation.
Well, yeah. Text me, Aaron. We'll get you over if you want the World Fence Federation, or if you want one of these rest shirts I'm wearing. Yeah. We'll get you one of those too. But or the fence show. The full throttle shirts are going to be pretty cool this year. Yeah.
And then we have. I just want to say that I really don't watch podcasts, but personally, I really enjoyed this episode completely. Well, thank you. Thank you for checking it out.
Who was that? I can't see the name.
Well, I don't want to butcher it. I don't know. It's Leticia.
Oh, Leticia?
Yeah. We're going with that.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm sorry.
I'll go back and watch it and see if I can read it.
Put those readers on. Awesome show today, guys. Aaron Preston says, yes, it was a great show tonight. Then he said, I'll take the hat.
Right. Wait, we got some. I think somebody's designing some hats, which is going to be pretty cool. They're like hybrids. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but I always ruin it. It's like a hybrid baseball cap, cowboy hat kind of thing. So we're going to get those up there for people to order.
Should we have played our? That was like breaking news, right?
All right.
Amanda says, great episode, guys. Appreciate it, Amanda. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Brian, so if you can hang tight for just a second, I will tell everybody else. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Fence Guy Podcast. And don't forget, like I tell you guys every week, make sure you go out there and be a good human.